subject that comes up continually in the gym and indeed in the online fitness community is that of butt wink, whether it's acceptable, and if so, under what circumstances is it acceptable. My own view is that it's not acceptable and should be avoided at all costs, and every effort should be made to eradicate it if it's something you suffer from. Myself, I suffered from it, still would slightly to a small degree, but I'm working hard to fix it. And for me, the key to fixing it is mobility. There are certain people who can walk into the gym and from day one, they just have the ability to sit in the position with a neutral spine, no butt wink, and fair play to them. If you're one of those people, this video is not really for you because you're already one step ahead of the posse. I saw a video last week of Clarence Kennedy where he was talking about his first time squatting in the gym. And if you don't know Clarence, check him out. He's an incredible Olympic lifter from Dublin, and he has several videos online and he does some insane lifts. But he mentioned that the first time he tried to squat, he was able to do so correctly and able to hit depth with no issues with curvature on the spine. I was not one of those people. I was older when I started training. I was stiff. I found it hard to get into position. Squatting didn't improve it. I needed to work on my mobility to allow me to get into the position where I could squat correctly, hip crease below the top of my knee, and do so while keeping a neutral spine. For me, I need to stretch daily, and I know this is tough for people if time is an issue for them. But for me, I need to stretch at least 30 minutes per day. I stretch everywhere from my shoulders, hips, hamstrings and ankles. I find the tightest one for me in particular are shoulders and hamstrings. I've done a lot of work on hip mobility and that seems to have paid off. I've pretty reasonable hip mobility. Hamstrings are very tight. I have to work hard. I have to work constantly on that. My ankle mobility is reasonably good, but you will see videos online where a particular proponent of a certain sort of mobility will emphasise that. So some people will say the key to getting rid of butt wink is hamstring mobility. Others, I think Johnny Candido said it was ankle mobility. I think he said in one video, I could be wrong. Others will say it's hips. I think Chris Duffin would do a lot of emphasis on hip mobility. For me, I found that I needed to work on the mobility all over. Having worked on that mobility, I found that I gradually, over a period of months, was able to go lower. I'm probably able to squat now to a depth of probably hip crease, slightly below knee, while keeping an almost flat back. So I've still more work to do on it, and I'm working hard to improve that mobility. And I mean, from a number of different perspectives, it's better to be able to go deeper in a squat. The deeper you go into a squat, the less load you have to use. If you're only squatting above parallel, you can lift more weight. So the more compression there is on the spinal vertebrae. The lower you can squat, the less weight you can handle, the less compression on your spinal vertebrae, which, you know, obviously is going to keep you safer. Obviously, if you're doing powerlifting, the idea is to be able to squat as heavy as possible. But even there, the rules will say that you have to squat hip crease below the top of the knee joint. So mobility for me is key to solving butt wink, and it's something I have to be constantly on top of. I'm training today. I'm not squatting today. I'm doing an upper body workout with some heavy flat barbell bench, but I will still do all my mobility work before training, and so far, touch wood, I've had no issues.